Welcome back to another episode of the Diabetes Digital Podcast. Today, I am going to be talking about what a balanced plate looks like if you're vegetarian or you're eating mostly plant-based. Welcome to the Diabetes Digital Podcast. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Jess, and we're best friends, registered dietitians, and diabetes educators.
Through our telehealth platform, diabetesdigital.co, we offer accessible and personalized virtual nutrition counseling for people with diabetes and prediabetes.
Visit diabetesdigital.co, that's C-O, to book your first appointment. We accept insurance and offer affordable self-pay options. Now, let's get into today's episode.
A question we get asked all the time for those plant-based eaters, vegetarian eaters is, okay, am I getting enough protein? Am I getting enough B12? And so I want to talk about what a balanced plate looks like because it's absolutely possible to have balanced blood sugars and to get all of the right nutrients eating a plant-based diet. You just have to plan a little bit to make sure that you're hitting all of your food groups. So when we think about a balanced plate, we think about protein, fats, fiber-rich carbohydrates, and non-starchy vegetables. Those are the most important things. Non-starchy vegetables are great for volume and nutrients and also fiber. I have a client named Priya who used to make rice and veggies only. And then when we ended up adding tofu, which has protein, and avocado, which has healthy fats, her energy was a lot better. And so it's really about including that balance. I find that for a lot of plant-based eaters, their plates tend to be more carb heavy, and that can definitely cause blood sugar spikes. So we have to make sure that we're adding enough protein, that we're adding enough fat and fiber to have more of that balancing effect. And when we think about protein, we can think about lentils, tofu, any kind of beans, tempeh. If you're eating eggs, those are also a really great option for protein. And I love eggs because they are just so convenient. Like they're so easy to do, and you can add them into any meal, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So for example, if you're putting together a meal, let's say that has quinoa or rice as your carbohydrate, pairing it with lentils and roasted vegetables or some kind of like hearty green salad is going to be perfectly balanced. Other examples could be a tofu stir fry with brown rice and peanut sauce. And I love peanut sauce because again, it has those healthy fats, it has a little bit of fiber as well, and it just adds really great flavor to your meals. Another example is if you're going to have a salad, right? A lot of times people say, oh, okay, well, I'm having some kind of protein salad, but then they end up feeling hungry a couple of hours later. So if you are going to have a salad, definitely add protein. So you could add something like chickpeas or hummus, and then you're going to add olive oil for fats, and you can pair it with some pita just so that you have that carbohydrate in there. And something that I've also seen with salads is tossing like roasted sweet potatoes. That's another way to get creative and add some carbohydrates in there as well. If you are going to have eggs for breakfast, let's say you make an omelet, right? I would recommend pairing it with some fruit so you have that carbohydrate in there, or with roasted potatoes if you have the time to do that, or a slice of toast, and then you can add some avocado for fat, and that would be a very well-rounded meal with all of those macronutrients. Some of the biggest mistakes that I see is, I mentioned like high carb, but also just not enough protein. And that can lead to those blood sugar spikes and crashes. And you're going to be feeling really hungry if you're not eating enough protein throughout the day. If you are an oatmeal fan, another thing that I see with oatmeal is that it can be pretty carb heavy with having oatmeal and a plant milk that doesn't have a lot of protein. So for example, oatmeal and almond milk is like a very popular combination, but almond milk doesn't really have a lot of protein. So what I would recommend is making your oatmeal with something like soy milk or pea milk that has a lot more protein in it. And then you can add hemp seeds, you can add chia seeds, you can add flax seeds, just so it has a little more fat. You can also add nuts. Any kind of nuts or seeds are going to be a great addition for protein and fat as well. If you are eating dairy, I would recommend going for something like a Greek yogurt versus those like sweetened plant-based yogurts because they do tend to be higher in carbohydrate and they don't have as much protein. Greek yogurt is going to be a higher protein option, and then you can go ahead and add your fruit, a little bit of honey if you want to flavor it, or maple syrup, some nuts and seeds and things like that. If you're vegan, there are some good plant-based yogurts out there for vegans, but I will say like Greek yogurt is going to be a better option for protein. And I actually wrote a really good article on the Food Network rounding up the best yogurts for people that have diabetes. So make sure that you check that out. I did like a little bit of a roundup, and you can find that roundup on our Instagram as well. Also, remember that with any meals that you make, you want to try to encourage variety and color. When you're eating different plants, it helps to feed your gut bacteria. You're also getting a variety of different vitamins and minerals. And so that's also something to keep in mind. Just try to keep it colorful, especially as the seasons are coming around, right? So like with the summer, there's so much abundance when it comes to fruits and vegetables, and there's so much variety. And then as the months get a little cooler, you're getting more of your hearty vegetables, your hearty fruits like apples and pears and things like that. And so eating with the seasons, I feel like is a really easy way to include that variety month to month. Now, if you're thinking about going plant-based or you already are plant-based and you want additional support from a dietitian to help plan your meals, or if you want to assess, like, do I need supplements? Are there any key nutrients that are missing? You can work with one of our dietitians. Most of our clients pay zero out of pocket since we're covered by insurance. You can visit diabetesdigital.co/quiz to make an appointment and we will verify your benefits. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in. We will catch you next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode. If you're interested in nutrition counseling with one of our expert dietitians to help improve your prediabetes or diabetes, visit us at diabetesdigital.co.
Also, if you found our conversation helpful, do us a favor and rate and review this podcast on iTunes, plus share with someone who might find this helpful. You can also connect with us on Instagram at diabetesdigital.co.
And tune in every Wednesday for practical, inclusive, and culturally humble diabetes insights. We'll catch you later. Bye.